You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, David Knight is doing an incredible job breaking down what really happened in the State of the Union. Then your phone calls and Congressman Walter Jones joining us on a host of issues. Continue, David, breaking this down.
Well, Alex, you said Walter Jones is going to be joining us. He's one of the Republicans who is fighting against something that is really going to happen. And that's, of course, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, these trade agreements with Pacific countries as well as with Europe. And, of course, our listeners know that this is part of a global governance scheme to create regional trade blocks and then merge those regional trade blocks into a kind of corporate global governance. And then Walter Jones understands that. And Politico has talked about they had a headline, political opposites attract on trade opposition. They talk about how there's unabashed liberals like DeLauro and Keith Ellison are fighting this. And you've also got Republicans like Walter Jones and Duncan Hunter. What are they fighting? Well, they're fighting the fact, as we've talked about many times, that this is a secret trade agreement that's being negotiated in private by corporate lobbyists. And
think about that. In mainstream news, they admitted for 2 years, it's secret, you can't see it, and then it signs away congressional power. WikiLeaks releases one part of 30, and it's beyond Chinese-style censorship of the web. This is global government by another name.
And we wouldn't know anything about it if WikiLeaks hadn't leaked those details. Because this is something that you can't see it without a non-disclosure agreement. They don't let elected representatives from any of the countries take a look at this. This is being done in secret. He's calling it fast track. What that means is that they're not going to be allowed to see it before they vote on it. They can't change it before they vote on it. As a matter of fact, he's going to vote on it before he lets Congress vote on it. That's what's really happening with fast track.
Well, that's what Pelosi said about Obamacare. And remember, that under Bush, they kept not letting us see the immigration reform package. And then Senator Sessions leaked it. And he got in trouble.
Yeah.
So they want to pass laws secretly in this country. I mean, obviously, this is a criminal operation.
So that should make you suspicious. But the part that's going to go through. So he's got his base, and he's betraying his base with this Trans-Pacific Partnership because many on the left really understand how NAFTA really took care of the working class.
Yeah, it's not free market. It's not.
No.
It was selectively written.
It's not capitalism. It's corporate cronyism. And now the other part of this that he is going to get through that's going to make his base angry is internet. Of course, he's saying that the FCC has control. They have jurisdiction. He doesn't need that authorization from Congress. And using bureaucracies and his executive orders, he's going to push this stuff through. And, of course, that's also part of the trade agreement, getting certain aspects of CISPA in. He talked about this last night. You guys got that clip about him talking yet again about intelligence sharing.
Yeah, here's that clip.
That's why earlier today, I signed a new executive order that will strengthen our cyber defenses by increasing information sharing and developing standards to protect.
Couldn't get Congress to pass it, so now he's just doing it.
It's failed twice. This intelligence sharing has failed twice. Let's cut that clip.
I mean, even Google's against it, saying it spies on everybody.
Absolutely. So that's one part of it, the intelligence sharing. At the same time, he's going to enact intelligence sharing. And, of course, what's behind that, Alex, is he's going to give legal immunity to the corporations who turn that intelligence you over to the government.
Well, it's like Obamacare basically legalizes it for them to share your medical records with anybody.
And then he has the audacity to talk about how we're going to stop corporations from sharing your data, as long as he doesn't stop them sharing.
So here's the headline. Obama announces plan. So Obama to go after pension funds, internet freedom. Yes. I mean, that's the agenda.
Yes. He's going after intelligence sharing in the name of security, then telling people that he's going to give them privacy with these new regulations. Also talking about we're going to have faster broadband for everybody. Evidently, it's clogging down, and they can't get enough information about us over the current bandwidth.
And that's, well, really, it's about the FCC making it all, quote, government broadcast to begin them having a regulatory hook
Yes.
That's what they want.
They've been on both sides of net neutrality. They could care less. It's just like Romney as far as health care. He's on every side of every issue. So has the FCC. They just want to establish their authority there. And they're turning a lot of crimes that were misdemeanors into felonies.
You know,
impacting the RICO statute.
David Knight, one of the best radio hosts in America, and he's at InfoWars. Walter Jones will be calling in, the congressman, any moment. He's there voting, as you just saw on C-SPAN. Let's start getting to some calls while we're waiting for him to call us on a host of issues. Tim in West Virginia, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, good. I'm glad to be on the air. I've been listening to you for quite a few years and Prison Planet member.
Thank you.
Take fluoride shield and a few of your other things. Some things have already been dealt with. I just want to speak a little bit about the ignorance of America. I got sick of hearing them clapping their hands all the time about things he said. I couldn't believe it. They're so duped and everything that they are. And when he said free, I thought, you know, how stupid. Everybody was clapping. And I'm thinking, there's a verse of scripture in the Old Testament that says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And I'm glad that you're on the air the way you are. I wouldn't listen to any other news media last night of the speech unless I listened to your people that were commenting. Appreciated very much you airing that and them speaking the way they did and what all you're doing. I'm going to continue to try to keep supporting you.
Thank you.
I'm not a rich man by any means. Don't claim richness. But I'm an American citizen, and I believe what my granddaddy believed in. The American flag would come by, and they'd be playing songs about it. He'd cry, put his hand over his heart, because he had boys in World War II that were on Navy ships. And I remember hearing my daddy say that he always would look up at his dad and see a tear come out of his eye. And I have an emotional love for this country. I have 14 grandchildren, actually 13, one on the way.
Well, you're wealthy.
And yes, sir,
hey, you just said you're not financially wealthy. You're as rich as it gets with 14 grandchildren. God bless you. That's so exciting. Now, I get sad all the time as well because America's been dumbed down, pulled down. So many bad things have been done to our republic. But it still has had so many great things in its history. And it makes me so angry to see the globalists doing the things they're doing. But our morality and our strength and our independence is a threat to their world plan. And so if other people shared your concern and started to break down crying and mourning for our country, that would show we were a lot healthier. We first got to admit how much trouble we're in and hit bottom before we turn things around. And I think we're starting to get pretty close to that right now. God bless you, sir. Great to hear from you, Tim. You know, I made a flippant comment a few weeks ago. Nobody attacked me for it, but I kind of attacked myself later because it was meant to quantify the numbers. Approximately 20 million Russians died in World War II, about 21 million Germans, tens of millions of civilians that got killed or put in slave camps by the Nazis and the Russians. 390-something thousand Americans died, close to that Brits. Sounds like a lot, 300-something thousand Americans. What about 20 million Russians? So when I said America really wasn't in World War II, we were, but here's the difference. We weren't in land warfare for most of it with two huge countries battling it out like the Germans and the Russians. That's total war, where just bam, the populations are coming together in toe-to-toe, never giving up, absolute slaughter. 300-something thousand versus 40-plus million. So really, for all intents and purposes, oh yeah, a lot of people lost family. A lot of folks went down on ships. My dad's first cousin, older than him, went down on one of those ships shot by a German wolf pack, torpedoed in the North Atlantic, trying to get food into England. But it was because we had the bombers and the aircraft that our ground troops were spared the massive millions of dead. That's why many of the casualties, the greatest casualties in any of our air wars was World War II, because it was thousands of bombers going in against thousands of fighter aircraft. And it was just absolute hell. That's why it seems like everybody I know in Texas, granddaddy was in the Army Air Corps. I mean, they just came in here and just recruited the state and got them ready and sent them in. So if you were my grandfather's, World War II was real and terrible. It's just, think about the huge loss of life on our side, and then think about millions of dead Japanese. In fact, I forget the number of dead Japanese. Isn't it estimated at 3.5 million? Look up estimated Japanese dead. I'm going from memory here. And these numbers vary. Again, as soon as Walter Jones gets on the line, we'll go to the congressman. He's voting right now. Let's go to Steve in Georgia. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Alex. Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome.
I wanted to just touch a couple things with you real quick about Obama's speech last night after he said he reduced the deficit. You know, I knew that everything he said after that would be just another lie. Moving on from that, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I'm a retired customs agent over here in North Georgia. Talked to you about Salem